Hi Victoria, welcome to the Larder Kitchen. What are you going to be cooking for us today?
Hi Nick, today I'm going to be making a Victoria sponge.
Amazing. Okay, and with what will we need to make this Victoria sponge?
Well, let's start with the basics, shall we? We want to do a little bit of health and safety in the kitchen, so we're going to make sure we've washed our hands thoroughly, covered any cuts and sores with a plaster, and if you've got long hair you might want to tie it up out of the way.
Wonderful.
And then you need some utensils. So I've got a lovely mixing bowl and a sieve. I've got a wooden spoon and a metal spoon. I've got a cake baking tray dish,
And
tin.
You've already lined that with baking paper.
I greased it with a little bit of the butter and some of the greaseproof paper, and then I lined it. This one has a push out bottom which makes it easier to get the cake out, but if you haven't got, this is an 8-inch tin, if you haven't got that, a square tin, whatever you've got will do just nicely.
Brilliant. Okay, and then ingredients to make this delicious cake.
Yeah, the Victoria sponge, it's a really simple recipe, it's a classic and you really can't go wrong. You need, for this size of cake, 170 grams or 6 ounces of butter, which is softened, not hard out
Just
of the
left out at
fridge.
room temperature.
Yeah, that's right. Again, 170 grams or 6 ounces of caster sugar.
Yeah.
And 170 grams or 6 ounces of self-raising flour.
Okay.
And then for that quantity of ingredients, we've got 3 eggs.
Wonderful.
So before we start mixing the cake, I'm just going to turn the oven on. We need it at 180 degrees for an ordinary oven or 160 degrees for a fan oven. And that's going to warm up so it's ready to put the cake in once it's in the tin.
Lovely.
Right, and now I will start on the mixture. So we're going to put the butter into the mixing bowl. There we go. And we're going to add the sugar. And that can all go in. And now it's beating time, which is why you wanted the butter softened to room temperature before you started, because it's going to
You could use a machine for this, I guess, if you have one
with the sugar.
at home.
Yes, if you've got a hand whisk, you could do that, and it's quicker. But I'm old-fashioned. Wooden spoon's fine for me.
Old-fashioned ways, the best ways.
Takes me a little while.
How many Victoria sponges have you made in your life, Victoria?
Oh my goodness! It was my go-to recipe when my children were growing up, and I probably made one a week for 16
Amazing.
years.
So you're an expert.
I hadn't made one for a very long time, so yesterday I went home and practiced.
So we're going to be all right.
So today, hopefully, it's going to go like a dream.
Brilliant.
Right, so I'm just pushing the butter and the sugar against the side of the bowl with the back of the spoon. Whoops. Not sure that's how you're supposed to do it, but never mind. Until it not only mashes together, but I'm aiming for a light and fluffy,
like a creamy texture.
Consistency, yes. And the idea is that I'm trying to get air into it as well to make the cake turn out as light as possible.
Excellent.
Right, that looks about ready for the next stage. As you can see, it's quite creamy. And,
Nice and light.
Yes, nice and light. So I'm just going to scrape that off the spoon with my trusty scraper, so it's all in the mixture.
How long did that take, would you say?
Yes, you might want to work at that for a little while. It might take a few minutes to get it to this stage, but don't give up. Keep going and make sure it gets to that light, fluffy stage.
Yeah.
Right, and the next job is eggs. So I'm going to break each egg into a little dish first. I don't want to put it straight into the mixture just in case there's something wrong with the egg.
Okay. Also helps to fish out any bits of shell that might fall in as well, I guess, before it goes
Yes, you don't want a crunchy cake. And then you add the eggs one at a time, and that helps them to incorporate into the butter and sugar mixture without it, I think it's curdling
Yeah.
can happen if you put them in too quickly. And you just combine it in, keeping that almost like a beating mixture going. And the mixture gets wetter, and there we go.
Just loosen the whole thing.
Yeah, and that's by beating it a little bit. You're adding some more air in to keep the cake nice and light. Number 2. That's the eggs incorporated into the mixture. It's lovely and creamy, moist, and I'm beating it to keep the air going in. You can see air bubbles in it.
Yeah. Does it matter if you have a few little lumps in it at this stage or not?
Probably not, no.
Right.
Don't worry about that. Right. That's that bit. And the next stage will be folding in the flour, which I'm going to abandon the wooden spoon. I'm going to get a metal spoon. I'm going to use a sieve because that will help add some more air and make the flour, get rid of any lumps in the flour. If you haven't got a sieve, that's not a problem. You can still just gently put the flour into the mixture.
Yeah.
The idea is we'll sieve some of the flour in and then gently fold it in and then add some more. So there we go. And folding is almost like turning the spoon with the mixture on it.
And that's to keep the air in
Yeah,
while
so
you're
that
doing
you
it.
don't knock the air out of the mixture. More.
I think the key to a cake like this is patience, isn't it, in a lot of respects? Don't try and rush it.
Yes, that's true. There we go, folding it again, just gently incorporating the flour. Of course it's going to get a little bit stiffer as you add the flour, but it's still quite a soft, moist mixture. There we are, that's the flour all mixed in, and the mixture is now ready to go into the baking tin.
Beautiful.
So, waste not, want not. And into the tin it goes. I'm going to just gently scrape it into the tin. Again, if you haven't got one of these scraping spatula things, you can use your metal spoon to scrape it into the tin. And I'm going to spread it round the tin and make sure it's evenly distributed, and then that will help it to cook evenly. And that's ready for the oven. So
Brilliant.
it's going to have about 30 minutes in the oven. And I would be inclined to check on it after about 20 to 25 minutes to see how it's getting on. And you'll know when it's cooked. It'll be a lovely golden brown colour on the top. If you agitated it, shake it slightly, it won't be sloppy, it'll be firm. And mind you, once it's been in the oven, remember to protect your hands with some oven gloves, don't touch the hot tin. And also to test whether it's cooked, you can touch the top with your finger, and if it's firm, that's cooked. And another way to do it is with a knife. Just dip the knife in. If the knife comes out clean, it's cooked. If there's sticky mixture on the knife, you know it needs maybe 5 minutes longer.
Beautiful.
Right, into the oven it goes. Okay, the cake's had 30 minutes in the oven, so we're going to just test and make sure it's properly cooked. I'm going to use the sharp knife. Just put it into the centre, pull it out. No sticky cake mixture on that, so I reckon that cake is ready to come out.
Beautiful.
We go around to switch the cooker off, and I'm going to put that on here on the wire cooling rack. It's going to stay in the tin for about 5 minutes until it's cool enough to turn out onto the rack to finish cooling. Again, if you haven't got a wire cooling rack, that's not the end of the world. I've been known to let my cakes cool down in the tin many a time. And actually it keeps them nice and moist.
Great.
Right.
So, Victoria, now our cake's ready, what would you suggest that we can do with it in terms of toppings or fillings, etc.?
Right, this cake, the Victoria sponge, is ideally suited to a buttercream filling or a whipped cream filling with some lovely strawberry jam. With a cake this size, you can, once it's out of the tin and cool, you can carefully slice it in half through the middle so that you've got two halves, and then you can put buttercream, jam, and then sandwich it back together.
Yeah.
On the top you can dust it with icing sugar, and then you can decorate it with fruit or anything that you fancy, really. If you've got something, you know, strawberries or raspberries that you want to use, you could put those on it. It would be a delicious party cake.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.